Bitcoin in the crypto market just had a solid bounce, but don't get too comfortable yet because things could shake up pretty soon. A lot of tension in the markets right now in the trade wars, and a lot of people are confused whether to buy or sell at the moment. And so I'm gonna go ahead and break down my key levels that I'm watching. The price is gonna make me a buyer or a seller, and just exactly what I think could happen over the next few months based on what price action does for Bitcoin. So go ahead and watch the whole video. I'll break it down for you, and don't make me ask more than once to subscribe to the channel if you're into crypto and Bitcoin and you like weekly market updates with price analysis from somebody who's been trading for a long time in this market. And I've been quite successful, by the way. So as always, nothing is financial advice, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the Bitcoin chart, which is looking okay. It's green. Over the last couple of weeks, it's looked okay, but really the current headlines that you're seeing right now, you'll see many of these stocks waver. US and China tensions right now, the trade war going on, tariffs. You don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. And that's exactly why we have sideways price action, not only in Bitcoin, but of course in stocks. We're also having earnings reports coming back over the next few weeks that will potentially move the market somewhat. We do know if we have some really good reports from the tech industry, from those leading companies that are the Mag 7 and that make up majority of the money in the stock index, then that's going to be a good thing overall. But one bad headline, just one bad headline, and things could get scary here or rocky again. And so that's where there's uncertainty in the market. Initially, there was a pump, as you can notice. This was like a top 5, top 2 to 3 all-time bounce in the stock market in one day. It was huge over the past week, but of course, reality sets in and the tariffs still loom. So uncertainty. Let's go ahead and talk though, based on Bitcoin, what I'm watching here. So the weekly chart, we bounce at around the 50 EMA. I'm gonna go ahead and use my magic wand there. Beautiful, beautiful orange line. And so with that said, that area is around 75K, 74K was the bottom. Now we've went up and bounced back off the 20 EMA on the weekly, and we're just basically going sideways between these two moving averages. So that's just some ranging going on. Now, the key is for me is not only the stock market, because if earnings are bad, if more tariff news comes out, I mean, nothing's going to be able to save stocks if that happens, and then Bitcoin's going to follow it, crypto's going to follow it. And then that's where you really want to just sit in cash and wait for a bounce to jump back in. But if you go to the daily chart now, daily doesn't look so hot. Again, ranging. But bottom line, what I'm seeing here, if you were to get out a tool, a parallel channel, basically, this is just a downtrend. Okay? So there's my magic wand again as it shoots out certain fun candies and trees and other things. But we are in a downtrend currently with Bitcoin, and look at that, Bitcoin just hit the top of the trend, and we'll see if we can make it back down here to around 79 to 80K. That is a potential buy area, but certainly we don't want to see it go lower and go to lower lows. But if Bitcoin can sit here and stick above this 78 to 80K level right here, I feel like that is another opportunity to get a higher low in. And that would make sense for a bounce as well too, because again, it's at the midline of the downtrend channel there. If you go ahead and zoom in also to the 4-hour chart, again, I think that would be probably a pretty good place. If you notice here, there's higher lows on the lower time frames, on the intraday time frames. If Bitcoin can bounce here around 80K, show some strength, of course, along with the stock market, then again, that could be a good place to buy. If you want to zoom out again, what we can also do here is go back on the daily chart. And I think a lot of people have talked about this, but what they're probably talking about is Bitcoin, oh, it broke the downtrend, the daily downtrend. And yes, Bitcoin did break the daily downtrend. As you can see here, it was in a downtrend since February, January, right? And typically what you'll see happen a lot of times, if I get my drawing tool out here, is that you'll see a downtrend break, price move up, not necessarily fake out, but it'll come back down and retest that trend line and then move back up. So that's another thing that you can watch as well. A retest of that trend line, that would be a good place to also grab in a long or a buy some more spot if it looks like there's some strength there. Technical wise, that's one thing that I'm watching for, but really I don't want to break back down below 78 to 80K. If we do, I do think that we retest the local lows at 74K, potentially lower. I'm hearing a lot of doom and gloom, like down to 60K. I don't think that we make it down that low. Sorry for all the lines on the chart, but I can see some potential buy opportunity between around 68K to 74K if it does break lower. A break back down below in the prior range, like sub 68K, I don't think that would look good. I think like down here and going sideways, it's a bear market kind of thing. We're not gonna focus on that because everybody likes to speculate on price action, and really the only thing you can do is take it day by day and week by week. And bottom line, right now, the daily looks sideways. And so until we know if this breaks down and it can balance at around 80K, 78K, that's the higher lows that I'm looking for. Now, if I were to go back up on the daily, and really that what I was talking about earlier, I'm gonna get rid of some of this stuff here and talk about the key level that I wanna watch. We wanna break back up into the prior range, okay? And so on the daily chart, if I go ahead and get that out, that's gonna be in this range of around 92 to mid 90Ks. And so if price can get back up into this range, again, if it rejects off this level of around 92 to 94K and comes back down, that's certainly a spot where I'm probably gonna take profit at if it's weak at that 92 to 94K range. But if price can actually get back up, sustain this level, get back up into this prior range right here, get back up in this range and show some strength, then yeah, I think that we're going back up to 100K. But first, it has to break back above that $93,000, $94,000 level. And naturally, I would probably even buy a little bit more there. Even though I'm not buying the bottom, I have been dollar cost averaging in at these current levels. So for me, I'm comfortable to add a little here, add a little bit higher. Now, some people would rather wait and add higher, but you have to be careful because again, if you add up here, if you FOMO in and you watch price go back and break above 90K and you're like, oh no, it's above 90K, I need to buy. If it doesn't get back above 93, 94K and rejects off, it's just gonna potentially be a lower high on this overall trend. And I can show you what that looks like. So this would be a lower high and then price would make its way back above 90K, unable to secure a break of that range, or to break it back into the range and goes lower. And of course that would be the lower high, and would on the higher time frames would be a downtrend starting, and that would probably be a bad thing. We do want to make sure if price does break back above that 94K level, and if it doesn't, then you know, overall that's some weakness. I'm always going to hold Bitcoin long term regardless, but some of my buys around low 80Ks, 78K, I would probably sell some of that, take profit on some longs, and then as well sell maybe some of the other coins that I've been holding here that I bought recently. But as for me, I'm not really buying a lot of altcoins right now anyway because of the current market. If Bitcoin does not go up, altcoins won't go up. There's always going to be outliers. Recently you've seen Fartcoin, which of course we all laugh about, but it has 4x'd over the past few weeks. It's shown some strength, and because of that, of course, people were making 2, 3, 4x on that who got in towards the bottom. Most people didn't, but some people did. But there are always outliers that will perform really well regardless of what Bitcoin does and if Bitcoin chops. But as for me, if I'm a buyer or a seller, I mean in altcoins specifically, you want to take a look at that ETH BTC chart. And we look at it so often and it's so ugly, because this thing continues to look like a red waterfall going down into a sea of blood. It's really ugly. And so until this thing turns around and until it shows strength, or you can also not only look at the ETH BTC chart, you can also compare other altcoins, major altcoins such as Solana, to Bitcoin? Is Solana showing strength? How is it doing? Now, typically if Solana is showing strength, and if you like altcoins on Solana, then a lot of times those may be a little stronger as well. But right now is not really the time to be dipping your toes into altcoins until we can figure out exactly what's going to happen next with the market. There are way too many uncertainties in the market right now, from tariffs to trade wars, and to see any type of earnings that come out negative. If those things are not good here in the following weeks, then that could be bad, or a bad headline, then that could be bad for crypto in general. But again, if Bitcoin can retest that daily trend line that we talked about at around 80K, then I think that could be a good buying opportunity for Bitcoin, potentially for altcoins. But expect altcoins to break down even further because they're high beta Bitcoin. They tend to be more volatile. Overall, I don't want to dip my toes into altcoins quite yet. Just a few here and there, but a lot of people are saying, I'm buying now. You go ahead and buy. But as for me, I would rather buy a little late, even though I didn't catch the very bottom, have better risk reward, be more confident in my buys, and in the end, make more money, even though I didn't buy lower. I'm more willing to put more money in the market if I'm more confident in it, if things look better overall with both stocks, the news, and for Bitcoin. So yet again, this is the key level here, as we talked about. 93 to roughly high 94Ks. That's where we want to watch to see if Bitcoin can break that price. If it does move up to that, because a lot of people understand, a lot of people will be taking profits at that level. And if it shows weakness there, and if stocks can't get any higher, then that's certainly going to be a potential chance for a lower high. And yeah, we have potential rate cuts coming in June. That type of macro environment is still going to overall impact the crypto and the Bitcoin market. You just need to be able to stomach volatility, because Bitcoin is high volatility. And if it's going sideways here for the next few months and then eventually breaks out, then you'll be rewarded. But the key is, in order to hold volatility, you need a good entry, and you need B, to not put in more than you can afford to lose. Because if you put way too much in the market, it's going to have you looking at your portfolio every 5 minutes at your phone, just stressing out about it. And you shouldn't be stressed out about it. If you're stressed out over your portfolio, you are over allocated, you need to take some money out, more than likely, not financial advice. But as for me, I'm going to make sure that I can sleep well at night. I'm not sweating or anything as I'm going to bed, or am I waking up to check my portfolio to see if I'm up or down majorly. I'm buying some spot Bitcoin. I'm going to continue to hold on to that based on where price goes. Based on where price goes here over the next few weeks, I'm going to determine whether I'm going to be a buyer or seller based on that 93, 94K level, and based on to see if Bitcoin can bounce at around the 78 to 80K level if it does pull back. Anything in between there is just basically technically ranging. And so expect a lot of that in the coming weeks, unless there's some big headlines that come out about tariffs, unless there's some big headlines that come out about the trade wars declining and there's some agreements going on. That is what you want to pay attention to. And unfortunately, as a crypto and Bitcoin trader and investor, that's what you're captive to. Here in 2025, that's what you have to watch. These aren't the same markets that we had back in 2017, 18. A lot of things have changed. But the good news is that we believe, me personally, I believe that we'll see Bitcoin at new all-time highs, whether it's this year or whether it's next year. But I do think that we see back up in those six figures again, potentially up to $250,000 in the next few years. So yeah, I remain bullish on Bitcoin. But as for now, those are the price levels that I want you to watch. And that's going to really determine whether I'm a buyer or seller currently right now. But with that said, hey, if you like the info, if you do like charts, if you like the color green, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to continue to have a lot more stuff out on Bitcoin and crypto And I'm a channel that just doesn't talk about news. I want to actually look at the prices. I want to actually determine whether it's a good time to buy or sell personally. So if you like the content, would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. With that said, you guys have a great rest of your day. Trade safe, and I'll see you soon.